I'm going to go over pre-germination, talk about weed control. Notice here, I've got some whitening here. It's Poa Annua not liking life. I'm going to give you a little heads up on that. We're also going to talk about water management at seeding, a free mulch that you can have that had a golf course superintendent say he used it. I use it, former golf course superintendent myself. Free mulch that you can have. We're also going to talk about water management, which is the most critical thing that you can do in order to ensure that you're getting the best possible results from your overseeding. I'm also going to talk about how to slow down your existing lawn if you're introducing new varieties in there, a safe way to do that and slow down your existing turf so your new seedlings will have a chance. We're also going to give you a mower blade that you can use, and other guys have used it as well, and says how easy it makes your overseeding, particularly renovation projects, so easy. So let's get started.
In regards to seed selection, have a heavy shaded area here. This is tall fescue. Tall fescue is going to do very good on shaded areas. Had somebody actually send me a few pictures on the Facebook page, had a kind of a seeding failure using bluegrass in a shaded area, and it's just not going to hold up. So do be aware of that. Bluegrass, here's the thing on germination of bluegrass while we're on this subject of timing. Generally, what I have found over the last decade, because of these improved varieties of uh, particular species that you have, they are germinating much sooner than what they used to be. A lot of the HGT bluegrass that I have on my seed list on Amazon, I'm going to give you a going to give you a coupon code here that doesn't even have to do with any affiliate or anything on Amazon. The Twin City Seed's going to save you shipping here. But anyway, let me go through this real quick and I'll give you this. But the HGT, for example, that pretty much what they're seeing is instead of taking 21 to 28 days to germinate, these newer seed varieties, particularly of bluegrass, are germinating much sooner than what they used to. I saw that on bent grass back in the 90s, did some golf course construction projects, and we were seeding, and this was in zone 7 in the Raleigh-Durham area. We were seeding in fall, and we were lucky to have a putting surface by April of the next year. You saw the green renovation and I did. That was an L93 bent grass, newer variety. Probably been out in the last 10, 12 years, maybe longer. But that popped up and we had a putting surface by Halloween. These newer varieties are germinating faster. Bent grasses like bluegrass, it takes 21 to 28 days to really get the germination started. So that was the other concern that the person had as far as seeding Kentucky bluegrass in that late September timeframe and in that first frost in August or October. Ryegrass is simple. Germinates in 3 to 7 days, and it'll pop right up and come up out of the ground. Has a little bit less, it's kind of like in the between grass as far as its disease tolerance, stripes up real nice. You can get gray leaf spot in that, and it can be really, and Pythium too, can be really aggressive. So that's not a bad move. Tall fescue, I like it for just about all odds. Sun, shade, anything else. You want a fairly low maintenance yard, a lot less inputs, good green color, doesn't stripe up. As you can see, though, I need to mow, but I can't because it's too doggone wet. That is an excellent grass, in my opinion. If I had home lawn, that's where I would go. I may throw a little bit of ryegrass in my other tall fescue ryegrass lawn that you've seen here that I renovated just to get my stripes back. I'm starting to lose those because I'm getting the ryegrass out of there, but I'm going to put superior varieties of ryegrass in there. I base all of my seed recommendations on my seed list on the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program. This is the plots in Raleigh, North Carolina, both for bluegrass. Now, the significant thing about bluegrass is this. There is a substantial difference between the different varieties of bluegrass. You can see it here in these in NTEP plots. They evaluate the grass varieties for 5 years and then rate them accordingly. So that's why there's always 5 years of data if you go to the NTEP website. Tall fescue, you won't see too much difference, but I always get the top varieties. Now, where can you get the top varieties? There again, I do have them on my Amazon storefront, but two places I'll give you. One is Heritage PPG. Now, they are available at Home Depot. However, I do not trust the varieties that they have at Home Depot. I've not seen them. But I will say Artemis tall fescue and Calypso tall fescue. The reason why I'm giving you Heritage PPG is they have a very good price point on that Calypso tall fescue, and it is very good. Some of this is Calypso, and some of this is also from Twin City Seed. Leave links to these in the description. There again, I get nothing for saying this. I'm here to save you money. I'm here to give you the best possible advice. The affiliate stuff is just a convenience to you. I do make commissions on that. But if there's a better product or if I can save you a better price bypassing my affiliate links, either on Lowe's or Home Depot, I'll give you that. And here's the thing. With Twin City Seed, if you used free ship 26, they're going to get nothing for saying this, you get free shipping at Twin City Seed. That's pretty big because what that does is, this is one of the things that came out, noticed earlier, was if you looked at, you looked at Amazon, it was actually cheaper than Twin City Seed if you factored the shipping in. Now with this coupon code for Twin City Seed, you can type that in, get free shipping, and that's cheaper than Amazon bypassing the storefront. Those two, Twin City Seed and Heritage PPG, will give you blue tag top quality seed. Just about anything you get from them, shipping direct, will be top quality seed.
Syngenta has a 5-day average of soil temperatures. I'm going to start using this on the channel. I've been advocating using a soil thermometer, but when I was at NC State Turfgrass Field Day, they recommended this site because it's a 5-day average, which if you went out there midday and took a soil temperature, it will go a little higher, and this is where you need to be on average. The later you are in the year, the less daylight you're going to have, and ultimately the less evapotranspiration rate you're going to have. What's evapotranspiration rate? Talked about that on the channel when I was talking about in this video, a couple videos, how to calculate how much water you need. I'm not talking about seeding here. Seeding, you have to keep those upper quarter-inch moist all the time, pretty much. But evapotranspiration rate, the longer the day length is going to be, the longer sun is going to be, and therefore the more evaporation off of that soil surface you're going to have. So the later you can go, the better you're going to do. You guys are in zone 7, particularly 8. I'm in zone 6. The only reason why I seed as early as I do is because I try to do something for the channel. I'll try to show you guys how to do it before you need to be doing it. In my opinion, zone 6, I wouldn't start thinking about overseeding till probably mid-September. The reason being is you're going to have a little bit of cooler temperatures. Hopefully you're going to have some rain, and you're going to have Mother Nature working for you. You're not going to have a 300 water. And you can seed in zone 6 till probably October 15th and still be okay, particularly with ryegrass and tall fescue. Bluegrass gets a little sketchy because it's 21, 28-day germination rate. Some of these newer varieties can go 14. Also, that will help. Using my renovation blade, here I am using it here, on your renovation, or bagging grass the day of. You can scalp it down, whatever you need to do. And using grass clippings. I use them. Here's another golf course superintendent that says, yeah, he's been using them for years. Free mulch. The nice thing about that also is it's going to degrade over those probably 10 days, maybe a hair more, depending on the temperature and the weather and things. But it's going to keep that soil moisture in. When you're mulching, that's all you're doing. And you want to go ahead and put those clippings out about a 1/4 inch thick. You can, if you went out at a 1/2 inch thick, I've actually done that in patchwork, keeps a little bit more moisture in, but you have to go back and pull some of that off there and put it down to that 1/4 inch. But you do want it fairly well covered to keep that moisture in. The nice thing about using clippings is this: they will degrade in that 7 to 10 day cycle about the time your seed is germinating, so it's kind of gone and you're not having to rake it up and mulching. And if you put on bare soil, it's going to dry out a lot quicker. You're going to be a lot more aggressive on your watering, because as soon as your seed starts drying out for an hour or two, it really slows things down. And if it's got that primary root out there and it dries and it's really hot, you can lose some seedlings. Some of them will come in, but yeah, it's at that critical time you can lose them. So go ahead and mulch with grass.
Seed timing. I got a great question I love these. When guys ask questions, and I've got to look up a few things and confirm a lot of things that I've observed, particularly you guys in zone 3 and 4 and 5 up north. One of the concerns that they had was seeding. I was advocating to seed when soil temperatures get to 65 degrees. That's probably going to be in September. But one of the concerns was, hey, I've got my first frost coming up in that mid-October timeframe. I'm concerned it's going to harm my new seedlings. This was the issue. It has been, particularly here in the Mid-Atlantic, it is raining now. It has been raining, and we have had this is by far, at least since I've had the channel, and probably since I can recall, one of the worst years for Pythium. Did a video on it. Pythium, which is an extremely aggressive fungus. And I had another another guy on the Facebook page. It pretty much took out what he had already seeded this August. It's too early. With Pythium specifically, now I'll get the temperatures here in a second. With Pythium specifically, when nighttime temperatures get below 65 degrees, it really reduces the pressure from Pythium. So if you go out this early and you're going in August and your soil temperatures are 65 to 70 degrees, there again, see that Syngenta website gives you a 5-day average. You're going to have to probably put down some type of fungal control. I advocate azoxystrobin. You do not want to put propiconazole in the soil because it will reduce. It's a gut plant growth regulator characteristics. I'll get 2 examples right here. Here's my fungicide list. 2 examples of propiconazole, both liquid and granular. But what that will do, that'll actually reduce a bit of the growth of your new seedlings if that is in the soil. So you want to go with another azoxystrobin product prior to, ideally within those 30 days prior to your seeding. You really don't want propiconazole in the soil. So you're going to have to use an azoxystrobin if you need to go this route. So you're going to have to put that azoxystrobin out probably 10 days before seeding, and then put it out again after it germinates. And probably have to go with Sturgo which is a menofoxin product, which is actually better for Pythium on new seedlings. Or forget about all this and wait till those soil temperatures get to 65 degrees. Back to my temperature concern that a viewer had. It's a great question. Concerned about that first frost. However, there is a study. I will give you the chart here. Generally, we are not seeing significant damage to new seedlings until really your first hard freeze, not frost. Cool season grasses are really adaptive. They're cool season grasses to frost. I have seeded with frost, being in the mix, and I've not really observed any problems. I believe he was in zone 3. I think his first frost date was mid-October. If you follow that 65-degree temperature rule on the soil, yeah, you're probably going to be running that mid-September. But your grass, and particularly with bluegrass, yeah, it could be fairly young during that October timeframe. But bluegrass is very diseased. It doesn't have a great disease tolerance like this tall fescue does. That's another thing. So it's a trade-off. But I really think it's not going to really harm you that much with these first frosts. It's when it gets down to 15 degrees, not freeze, hard freeze, where you really start worrying about losing grass to cold temperatures, because cool season grasses are very adaptive to it.
Pre-germination of seed. What is that? That's pre-soaking the seed. I'll give you a little clip from a previous video. I said it well there, so I'll use it again. But really what it is soaking the seed in order to start the hormones from actually germinating in that grass seed. So let's go over what it is, how to do it, and I'll get you to talk to you more about that on the other side. What you are doing, you are completely soaking the seed for a period of time, depending on the species. Immerse it in water. And then what you're going to do, you're going to put it in water. You're going to soak it on ryegrass and tall fescue for 2 days. You can go as high as 3, but what I did when I did mine, here's me doing it. I actually did a video. Here's the video. I got germination in May, which soil temperatures are much lower now. I get germination on tall fescue. It typically takes anywhere from 7 to 14 days. I got it in 3. Now, here's the thing about pre-germination seed. I didn't do it that much when I was golf course superintendent. The reason being is we don't put out seed by the pound. We put it out by the ton. Thing is this. There's a lot of chatter, and I've put them out too, as on YouTube about pre-germination. Here's my thesis on it, if you will. if you're going to do more than 20 pounds, if you're seeding more than 20 pounds, that is a tall order to pre-germinate, because what you have to do, as I said, is you have to mix it with dry sand, bone dry sand. And that's usually putting it out on the driveway and letting the sun cook it for a while and then mixing with that seed. If not, you'll never get it out. That poor guy actually pre-germinate the seed, and he had a heck of a time getting it out. Finally did get it out. He left in the comments, it was late at night. I felt sorry for him because I'm sure he worked his keister off. That's why I really don't pre-germinate. In my personal opinion, I think it's more of a spring activity anyway, because you are seeding in colder soil temperatures. Right now, the soil temperatures are warmer, and the biological activity for every 10 degrees, and somebody corrected me, and they did a great job, thank you. For every 10 degrees of Celsius, I had forgotten about that. Biological activity doubles. So since we have these high soil temperatures, the biological activity is really going to be working. So really pre-germination seed, it might gain you a day, maybe two. Spring will gain you for maybe 3 or 4 days. So it's a little bit more of a spring activity, in my opinion. It's not so much here during the fall, late summer when these soil temperatures are higher. I don't think it's worth it unless you're doing less than 20 pounds, and or there again, like I said in this video, you can get germination 3 days with tall fescue with it. It's more of a spot treatment, in my opinion. Plus, I don't use, those you watch the channel, I don't use pre-emergent herbicide. So if I have a bad spot, I'll pre-germinate, mix it with some sand, I'll pop it out here and try to get something going. So it does help you there. But just be aware of that on pre-germination. I just hate for you to get started. We've all been there, done that. Start on a project thinking this will take me 6 hours, and you're 4.5 hours into it, and you're still trying to get the seed out and don't want to do that. So just be aware of that. I hate for you to do that. Great segue, which is sort of a water management, because that's really what we're doing with pre-germination. Talked about this in many videos. I talked about that in the last one is H2O maximizer. H2O maximizer is a wetting agent. It evens up the soil moisture level and allows the water to penetrate as well. I have several videos on this. This was my last one. Penn State University did a study on having surfactants in a seed coating and how that affects the seed. And the results were encouraging. This is the same principle as applying a wetting agent to the soil. That surfactant gets on the soil, allows that water to penetrate and more even soil moisture. H2O Maximizer will do that. Those you haven't seen this, here is a chart from a golf course management article showing how much there was an increase in water holding capacity using H2O Maximizer and compared to 15 other wetting agents, 2 of which I use as a professional on putting greens when I was a golf course superintendent. I can tell you that primer is an outstanding product. I've used H2O Maximizer on this lawn as well this year, and you can see all the testimonials from guys here on the channel that have used it as well. A very good wetting agent. Also, I have a coupon code. What happened was this. I sold, there was so much reaction from my viewers, they actually called Underhill and said, hey, heard this about this H2O Maximizer and home lawn care with Craig Phillips, and Underhill reached out to me. Here's the email that I got from him last May, I think. Then I said, hey, he goes, anything I can help you with, let me know. I said, how about a discount code for my viewers? Sure. He set it up. This discount code, Greg Deal, if you go to my Amazon storefront, they're getting affiliate links. It does support the channel when you use it, but I have everything on there. If you find something at a lower price, please put it in the comments. I've done this work for you, and it's one of the things I try to do on the channel is I try to get your products at the lowest possible price, and that'll give you $10 off, and that is the cheapest that H2O Maximizer that I found is online. Glimpers had it last year when I did this video. In fact, in March, they had it for $97 a jug. That's less than what it is on, but you've got to get it shipped to you. So it's about 123. This is running around $100 with the coupon code. Now let's talk about weed control. And that gets me to here. I'm going to do a deeper dive into Torocity. That's this. This is actually what is happening here. That Torocity application on this outer part is a 5 ounce per acre application on that area. The off color you're seeing there is Poa Annua not liking life too well. So what I did actually a couple. I did a higher rate over here. I'll show you that here. You can see how the severity of that is. A lot of that yellowing Most of that yellowing is Poa annua hating life. There's a little bit of yellowing of some uh, ryegrass I have in here too. There is a bluegrass rate on uh, Torocity, and there is a ryegrass rate on Torocity. Ryegrass is a little more sensitive. But you can see here with a post-emergent application, Torocity, need to put a non-ionic surfactant in there. It will not only control clover and many of these weeds that you're seeing here, in addition to crabgrass, it will also control all these weeds, both pre and post-emergent. It gives you pre-emergent activity for about 3 to 4 weeks. The reason why that is so critical, Poa annua starts germinating, going back to the soil temperatures get to 70 degrees. Then here's a, if I, if I didn't say already, I think I did. I'm gonna leave that Syngenta site down below. Syngenta has a great site, tells you a 5-day average on seed. Pardon me, on soil temperatures. Once when the soil temperatures reach an average of 70 degrees, Poa annua begins to germinate again during coming out of summer. Now's the time to attack it because right now it's at its weakest. Went through the summer, it's been hot, dry, and been dry in the mid-Atlantic, but nevertheless, it's hot, dry. Right now is the time to hit it. It's at the end of its life cycle. You want to hit it now and have that Torocity out there working for you, suppressing that germination for 3 to 4 weeks while you're seeding. You want to put that at seeding. Those of you who don't have a backpack sprayer, don't go that rate. You can also use the Scots for seeding. It's not as effective post-emergent as the Torocity is. That's the advantage of having a backpack sprayer program. You guys want to try and maybe make the jump to a backpack sprayer? I go over it, make it very easy in this video, how to calibrate, what to do, and what to look for. Go over nozzles, everything you need. But if you don't, you can use that Scots for seeding, put it out. That will yellow up this Poa annua a little bit because it is a bit root absorbed as well. But anyway, so you'll get a little bit of that, not as effective as Torocity, but you will also get that 3 to 4 week pre-emergent control of all the weeds it controls, and it will allow you to go ahead and seed ryegrass, bluegrass, and tall fescue into the lawn, and that is a great tool.
I'm really focusing on Poa annua control during my series on overseeding. One thing you can do after that second mowing or 4 weeks, whichever is longer, you can go out with a Dithiopyr product with fertilizer. I know it says crabgrass control over the top of it, but that's a marketing term. Okay, this is a Dithiopyr, basically a dimension product. It's a 2004 high nitrogen. You need high nitrogen application on cool season grasses, particularly in the fall. What that will do is that will give you pre-emergent control of Poa annua well into next May. And that is really going to be important because here's what you've done. You've whacked it with, you really set it back, probably have killed a decent amount of the Poa annua in your yard with Torocity. Then you have the pre-emergent control while that seed is developing, seedlings are developing. Then you're going to have a little bit of a window where it's kind of a, you may have some Poa annua germinating, but not, I don't think too much. Because if you put this out there again, second mowing or 4 weeks after germination, whichever is longer, putting out a Dithiopyr product is really going to suppress any Poa annua germinating during the winter months. Now, I have seen, and if you look way back there, there's Bermudagrass. Managed Bermudagrass on golf courses in my home lawn as well. It is something that is a concern in warm season grasses as well. The observations that I have made, it seems like to me, I'm in zone 7. Most of the Poa annua that germinates during the winter seems to be happening in my region around February or March. So if you're putting out a Dithiopyr, probably I'm thinking maybe between Halloween and Thanksgiving, maybe even a little bit past Thanksgiving, that's really going to cut down the population of Poa annua doing all of that for your lawn. So, also, as far as Dithiopyr, talked about this in my seeding video. It is the safest, if you will, on new seedlings. In fact, I'll leave the study down below. They actually took Dithiopyr and put it out, pretty sure it was on tall fescue, 10 days after germination, didn't harm it. Not saying to do that. What I'm saying is I really looked at this from my spring seeding video of what you guys can put out as far, if you are spring seeding, put out that seeding, go ahead and go with that Torocity and or Scots for seeding, and then wait and put out that Dithiopyr. I go over that entire program in my spring seeding video. But it is pretty mild and not as severe as a prodiamine, which is basically a barricade product, and definitely not as harsh as pendimethalin, which is a Scott's Halts. Those are three different types of pre-emergence that you have on cool season grasses. So if you go with the Dithiopyr/Dimension product, and this is a 2003 with fertilizer, you're going to need to put out some nitrogen out at that time then. Yes, that late in the season. Go over that in my fall video from last year. Probably doing another one this year. But if you do that, that is going to significantly reduce the amount of Poa annua in your yard substantially. Do keep in mind, if you do with this Dithiopyr application, you will not be able to seed in the spring. However, for those of you guys in zone 3, 4, 5 that are really struggling with Poa annua, that's what I would be doing when you're seeding and this fall.
So anyway, also how to slow down. Let's say you're in my situation. You have a reasonably thick lawn, or you're doing some weed control. Doing that right here. I'll talk about here in a second. You can use a plant growth regulator. I advocated the one Pramaxis from Atticus. Used this for years on putting greens. It's the same chemistry that I've used the Primo Max. This is just the generic Pramaxis is generic Primo Max. What that will do, particularly if you go out at half rate, that'll give you plant growth regulation for approximately 2 weeks. And that will give you the ability to put those new seedlings in and reduce the competition between your existing turf. I will be using that in this lawn for this situation I'm working on. Tell you what I'm doing here in a second. And when I talked about the permanent, this is more critical on Bermudagrass. Uh, it can yellow grass a little bit. However, the thing is this: you could go out at a half rate. That kind of introduces that plant growth regulator. I didn't have really too much trouble. Not a big of trouble on cool season grasses, but I'm ultra conservative whenever I'm ultra conservative on anything on turf grass. Just golf course superintendent, one bad spray, you're gone. And then everybody knows you've been gone and what you've been gone for. So I'm ultra conservative. You can go ahead and go out at a half rate, wait 2 weeks later and go to a full rate. So maybe 2 weeks before your seeding, you want to go out, hit that, then go ahead and put it out. You can put it out day of seeding as well. It is only a foliarly absorbed uh, plant growth regulator. Won't get in the seed, won't stay in the soil, seed won't pick it up, particularly after 3 days. 3 days being ryegrass. Any other ones, they're not even going to have any root system there. But yeah, you can definitely put that out at seeding. That will slow down your existing turf and give those desirable species better opportunity to come on.
Okay, that's, well, pretty much my comprehensive video for overseeding here in 2026. Now, I just happen to be in front of my Bermudagrass lawn. This is Yukon Bermudagrass. I was talking about different varieties of the grass species. The reason why I kind of ended here, if you guys are truly struggling with water restrictions, just overall fungal pressure, and really want a low cost turf. Granted, this does go dormant. I'm in a northern climate, and really from, gosh, probably before Halloween, clear through about middle of May, this does go dormant. I'm just throwing this as an option for those of you who are maybe struggling with lawns. Has no shade tolerance whatsoever. However, if you get at least 4 hours of sun on Bermuda grass every day, it is a viable option for some of you. It's what I try to do on the channel. There again, I'm not here to sell products or just to give you the lawn that you need. So, and if you did seed Bermuda, I actually put this in. I seeded it in May of 2017, and it's been here ever since. So just an idea can throw up. If if any of you are in a situation, I thought this might be a good way to end the video. If you guys are really in a situation where it's like, wow, it's been a struggle for too many years, and I'm really just want a very low maintenance, high quality lawn, and it does look great when you really need it. Here we are in mid-August, looks great. Needs very little water. We had a drought a couple of years ago, and I did end up watering this a little bit. But for the most part, particularly those you in zone 6 to 8, if you're truly struggling, have a lawn that has a minimum of 4 hours of sunlight per day. Probably closer to 6 would be better. Bermuda grass might be an option. And if you want a year long color, you can overseed this with ryegrass. Did that on golf courses in fairways and tees down in the Raleigh Durham area, one of the courses I had down there. Anyway, I'm agronomist Greg Phillips. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. And if you like and subscribe, it does promote the channel, promotes the video, and that way I can help others. Appreciate you watching. Thanks.